Well, good afternoon, everyone. Here we are again. I hope you're having an amazing Saturday afternoon. We truly are. Of course, this is the best time of the week for us because we absolutely love you guys and we love bringing new stories of triumph every week. And today is no different. Today is going to be amazing. We have a beautiful guest with an amazing story. So, as we always do, sit back, listen up. I'm sure you're going to be filled with so much joy, hope, all of those things that God wants to impart in us, despite what we may be facing, despite what we may be going through. And don't forget to share, because if it's going to bless you, then it's going to bless someone else. So hit that share button right now as we begin Arise and Shine, Stories of Triumph. Tanya?
Yes. Hey, hello, everybody. You saw me earlier. I did a real pathetic little rhyme. So for all the rhymers and the rappers out there, I just extend my apologies, but I was so excited. I was so excited. And I'm still excited because Dr. LaTarsha Holden is in the room. Look at me. Yes. Yes. And let me tell y'all, besides the beautiful face, let me give you some facts. Let me give you some facts. Because the headline for her is From Homelessness to Overcomer. And she just epitomizes overcomer.
Yes.
And the reason that I say that is not because I've spent like every day with her and we talk on the phone 2 or 3 times a week, but because of her fruit.
Yes.
And the fruit is evident. You see it, right? So in the last 12 years, she's overcome the odds. She's gone from being homeless, a mom with 6 kids in the streets of Atlanta, to a political candidate in 2017 election. From a GED education to a doctorate degree. And look, it's not doctorate degree in I don't know, some simple thing. It's a doctorate degree in leadership studies.
Oh my God.
Okay, so that's hard. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
Studied a book or 2. That's a hard one, right? So I'm not done. Wait, she became a 13-time published author.
Wow.
13 books, y'all. I'm excited about the one that I contributed to, but there's more to come, right?
Yes.
And she created her first comic book. I think she's got one up there behind her in April 2020. So you talk about multiple streams of income and multi-talented. Then she went, wait a minute. She's doing all of this, right? And had the audacity, as Obama would say, audacity, to win Mother of the Year.
Come on.
In Georgia.
I love it.
Right? And then, wait, Benicia, wait a minute.
I don't know if I could take anymore. Wait a minute.
She won Mother of the Year another time by the American Mother Incorporated. She won National Mother of the Year for 2020.
Wow, amazing.
I half expected all 6 of your kids to be lined up behind you saying, hi.
Well, let's talk about her looking like she has. I'm sorry. How many? Girl, you look good.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Yes.
Welcome, and I'm gonna call you Doc. I hope that's okay.
Oh, that's good.
Doc, welcome. We are so honored to have you with us. And if I could tell y'all how the show was before the show.
Oh
my God.
That's all. Those are good descriptions. My God.
Yes.
But talk to us. I think the first question out of the gate for me is, I didn't mention one thing is that you were a minister as well.
Yeah.
And that's part of my first question. How and you go, God's grace, I'm gonna say that before you answer. Did you accomplish all that you have and not wear it How does that happen?
Oh my goodness. First I want to thank you, beautiful ladies. Guys, I wish you could have saw it before. We had church. We were about to go and pass a collection plate,
Come
but
on.
oh my goodness. It's interesting now. I'm looking back 13 years later from the start in 2007 when I wrote in college. That nothing was planned. I just came to I had left an abusive marriage. Abusive marriage finally ended after 10 years. And I was already someone that was not someone that was disciplined and organized. I dropped out in 10th grade, had 4 kids by the time I was 22. So I was already got off track at a young age. But when I became homeless, honestly, if it was left up to me, I would have hid in a corner somewhere. I was scared. I mean, I was 35 with a GED, very little work history, 6 children, and homeless in the streets of Atlanta.
Wow.
My mindset at that point, I mean, let's just be honest, 35 years old, you're pretty much, whatever your mindset has been up to then, you're pretty much where you're going to be. I mean, So for me, it came down to this. When I wrote in college, we was living in a board-up house as squatters. But I had 12 eyes watching me. And so for me, I wasn't raised in the church. So I didn't know God then. And as we go along, I'll tell you how I met God. But I just knew I made a vow that the streets was not going to raise my 6 children, nor the jails was going to house them. And so I really didn't know what liberation or freedom looked like. I just knew I had to do something to at least try to change the trajectory of my family.
That's so powerful. So powerful. And I'm gonna say, just from remembering a night where I didn't know where I was gonna sleep, that's just me on my private little self. What struck me by what you just said was there's 12 eyes watching me.
My God.
So to have that feeling of what are we eating today? Where am I going to lay my head? And you having that feeling for yourself and 6 more people. That's an incredible amount of pressure. That's something that would make one lose their mind.
I mean, and I almost did, because we was homeless 4 years. So for me, as a minister, I often pose the question, what happens when your struggle outlasts your strength?
My God.
We all know we can go through something for a couple of weeks, months, but what happens when it becomes years? And so for me, it did not, I mean, oh my gosh. It was the crucible, I call it the crucible, when God had to refine, in order for him to take me where he has taken me and is continuing to take me, I had to go through the crucible. But at the time, I thought he was trying to kill me. I'm just going to be honest. I thought he was really trying to kill me mentally. But I just remember being in that board-up house right before we went to the deepness of homeless, right before we had to get in the shelter, sleeping in cars or board-up homes. I was thinking suicide and legacy, because we was homeless
Jesus,
2 years.
those 2 words together.
Yeah, suicide and legacy. I didn't know, we was homeless 2 years before I enrolled in college and 2 years during my undergrad. And so before I just really got into the deep, where it started to wear on me mentally, because like you said, Tanya, that at that time I had 2 kids in high school, 2 kids in middle school, 2 kids in elementary. So when I say I was pulled, I was pulled. It only by the grace of God, my mind is still here. But I just knew I came to my 6 children 12 years ago, and I was humiliated. But I had to get them who I knew I was, a servant leader. So I came to them, and this is where legacy stepped in there. I said, well, I got to do something for my kids, because I'm thinking about killing myself. I'm thinking they'll be better without me. So I said, well, I remember we was in the kitchen. I said, well, I want to teach you guys how to serve. And they were like, Mom, what are you talking about? We don't have anything. And I'm like, Lord, this is all I got to offer them. I say, I know it, but I believe if I can teach you all how to give back now at our lowest, I've given you a strong foundation to build on to become great leaders. And so we did events in the community. I had a newspaper clippings. It was around the Hurricane Katrina time. We did about 4 or 5 events in the community. And I just emptied myself as a servant leader. I mean, to me, that was probably the most humiliating thing, because my kids, the older 4, they was middle school and high school. They wanted stuff. You know, I didn't have it.
Yeah.
But to my surprise, and I always say this first before I go into the story, because to me, this is the epitome of what leadership is. To my surprise, although they grumbled, they complained, they even was mad at me. Why are we going through this? What's wrong with us? What you didn't even do that to nobody, Mom. You treat people like, I said, I didn't have answers.
Yeah.
Right.
But I remember my son came to me his senior year in high school. And he said, Mother, by what you showed me when we didn't have anything, my way of serving is joining the United States Marine Corps. He served 10 and a half years before he medically retired. Now he's a second-year college student. And then my other son said, well, Mom, my way of serving, he became a caretaker. Then another daughter said, Mom, by what you showed me, my way of serving is going to the medical field. She's an EMT, a licensed pharmacy tech, and in her third year of college.
Wow.
Then another daughter said, well, Mom, my way of giving back is joining the Army. She joined the United States Army 2 years ago and graduated from college last year.
My God.
Then my 19-year-old daughter now, she became a 2-time published author by the time she was 16. Now she's a 4-time published author. She's a spoken word artist. She's a youth leader and entrepreneur. My youngest son, his name is Omega. Omega is the last end, so there's no more coming after that, brother. that was it. Omega turned 18. Right. He's a senior in high school, youth leader, athlete. And for me, if God was to take me home today, I believe I've done my job. And so not only that, God has allowed me to not only witness my 6 children become leaders, he's also, for me, he just allowed me to see stuff. My 9-year-old grandson became a published author a week before Christmas.
My God.
So
Legacy.
And so for me, that
tipped the scale. On that scale you gave us of legacy suicide. Legacy side.
Yes. Listen, that is so powerful for so many different reasons. As you were speaking, one thing that came to me was, the scriptures that says, though he slay me, come on, yet will I trust him. I don't know why I'm here. I have no real inkling about what my next move is, but you still found a way to trust him. His hand still was on your life. And then you did what the Bible said. It's easy to say we believers. It's easy to go to church. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to raise your hands when things are going well, but when the rubber meets the road.
Yes, Lord.
Can you do what the word says? The Bible says now it's better to give than to receive.
Right.
And we think, I'm in tears. We think, when you're carnal, that it has to be materialistic things. I have to have, something of substance. If I don't have that, but in God's kingdom,
none of that matters. None of that matters.
None of that matters. What you gave your kids, the Bible says only what you do for Christ will last.
That's right.
Okay. So you helping me when we get our eyes off of what we don't have. No, what do you have? That's the question I hear God asking. But what do you have?
Yes.
What do you
have? And you had a servant mentality at your lowest place. My God.
What struck me too with that is the fact that, just turn the volume down a little bit and it'll go away, the echo. The fact that you were going to school and doing all this other stuff at the same time.
Well, and I just want to be honest, the journey got so hard because, like I said, it was one thing to when you going through something for a week or 2 weeks or a month, but like you said, Tanya, it wasn't just me. I had 6 kids I had to keep from the drugs, the gangs, DFATs, sex trafficking, just running away, and I remember the journey got so hard for me because being homeless, it actually started taking a toll on where you gonna sleep, where you gonna go up, and I'm already empty, you know, but I had to pour into 6 children. I mean, encouragement, you know, I just had to use everything I had to encourage them, to empower them. But the journey got so hard. I remember walking to a hospital here in Riverdale, Georgia. And I told the lady this, I said, ma'am, I can't do this no more. I just cannot, you know. She said, ma'am, are you saying you want to commit suicide? I said, yes, ma'am. And I remember them keeping me for a week for observation. But because I wasn't raised in the church, I didn't know God. But when I got into that hospital, I went to the lady on that floor they had me on. I went to the lady at the desk. I said, ma'am, can I go? They had a padded room on that floor. I said, ma'am, can I go into that room? She said, ma'am, you're no threat to anybody. I said, I know, but I need to go in that room. And it was in that room, I remember dropping down to my knee, crying out, God, are you there? Please help me. I don't have anything. I'm scared. I'm lost. And I did that every day I was there. And when they released me after a week of observation, although my situation did not immediately turn around, I knew something was different.
Yes.
And before I knew it, I had matriculated through college with my AA degree, my BA, my MBA. But when I got accepted into the PhD program for leadership studies, now I did want to bungee jump up to heaven and high five a man. I just
Well done, my daughter. Well done. Yes.
Yeah, you know.
Yes. So calling you doc is that's so earned. It's so earned, the journey.
Well, let me tell you about that. A year into the PhD program, and at this time I was beginning to run for city council because I remember a quote from Nelson Mandela when he said, "How could he enjoy the limited freedom that he had when his sisters and brothers were not free?" So I knew that God did not bring me that far just for me alone, and so that's how I was. Went into and ran for 2017 into the election for city council. But a year into the PhD program, I was called into the dean's office. And the dean said, well, I got good news and bad news. And I'm like, okay. He was like, LaTarsha, you've been in school 10 years. You got your degree. You even did a year and a half in a master's divinity program, which probably ate up most of your money. He said, but you won't be able to finish the program because you have depleted your funds. And I sat there. He said, whatever you're trying to do, you've done. You got over 240, 50 credit hours. And I sat there and I dropped my head and I walked out. And on the way to the car, I said, God, I tried my best. I tried my best. A year later, I was sitting up on the dryer 6 months later because I was running for office. I was sitting up on the dryer and I got a call. He said, can I speak to Dr. Holden? I say, sir, I didn't finish the PhD program. He said, Dr. Holden. This is Carlton Davis, president of G. Moore Theological Institute.
My God.
He said, let me ask you a couple of questions, Dr. Holden. He said, is it true that you was in the PhD program for leadership studies? I said, yes, sir. He said, yeah, my couple of staff member has been watching your journey. He said, it's also true that you brought a family of 6 children plus yourself out of homelessness and all your children are serving. I said, yes, sir. He said, it's also true. I seen in newspaper articles where y'all did events in the community that you taught your 6 children the meaning of servant leadership. I said, yes, sir. He said, you're a 12-time published author. At that time, I said, yes, sir. He said, you're now running for city council.
Come on.
He said, Dr. Holden, God has favored you.
Yes, he has.
He said, he said, there's not a dissertation that you can have written that would express the magnitude of leadership that you have displayed. He said, Dr. Holden, we're not giving you anything. You have earned this. You will be receiving your doctorate in leadership studies. I came up on that dryer and hit the floor, and I said, my God. He said, today, God has favored you. He said, God has favored you. Don't know me, but we've been watching. God will have people to watch you. You don't know who's watching you on your journey. He said, and I was like, is this for real? I was shaking. He was like, Dr. Holden, you have exemplified leadership, what leadership means. It's not a dissertation you could have written that could have did what you've done with your life and your children.
Defied all natural laws, rules, regulations. Won't God do it? My question to you, though, is how did you, because we like to talk practical and we like to be, one thing I love about you, authentic, real. But how did you how are you able to not stay stuck in a victim mentality? You know, we tell ourselves all these excuses, the woe is me. And some of it, like you said, is real. Like you was going through, but take us through that process of your thinking.
Oh my goodness. I mean, be honest, I still today deal with some residue. Sometimes I suffer with the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because of how God did, you know, I'm 48 years old. So for me, it's like, for me, I'm thinking it's backwards. Oh my God, you know, now I have this, that, but you know, I didn't come through the traditional, go out of high school, college, be in a job 20, 30 years. And he said, well, your job, you have been on a job 20, 30 years.
Life
You've been a mother. You've been a mother, you know, so so for me, it was hard, Benicia. I tell you, I was being laughed at. The journey, another incident, we was riding around, and I'm here, I'm born and raised here, so my family members are here. I even called auntie one day and asked, can we just sleep on the floor? No, can't do that. Everybody laugh. Okay, no problem. I even called a sister. She had won a nice settlement from a lawsuit. Can I just get $50 for a hotel? No, I ain't got it. No problem.
Jesus.
So I cried a lot, and I kept looking at my kids. And I remember we was riding around one day here in Atlanta, and the kids in the back, mom, we're tired. Where we going? And I'm crying. I'm like, I don't know. And I heard a still small voice say, go to Berean Christian bookstore on Cleveland Avenue. And I kind of shook my head. I'm like, what are you talking about? I heard the voice say, go to Berean Christian bookstore on Cleveland Avenue. Your help is there.
My God.
When I went there, it was this late, and I don't know, they was angels. I tell this story all the time because they were not angels. I would love to meet them. But I went into the store and I was drawn to this lady who was reading a book, and I went and told her what was going on. She said, well, hold on, man. I'm gonna go talk with my husband. She came back. She said, ma'am, do you have a car? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, well, follow us back to the house. These people treated us like we was out of town guests.
Jesus.
I don't even know what these angels. When I say she cooked the feast like it was Thanksgiving, and we went to the grocery store, me and her, to get some stuff, and she got my two younger kids something. And the next day, she prayed for me and gave me $60 and wished me well. And I would just like to meet them, you know. But I would just, so it was hard. I think the hardest part was about my older kids. You know, they can, after a while, I'm trying, they're complaining, they want stuff, they you know, cousins are laughing at them, and family members are, you know, acting like, you know, I think being a black sheep of the family, no one really thought I was going to make it to this side of the fence. Even when I ran for city council, no one helped. Oh, now you're going to tell people you was homeless. People look at us like we crazy because we was here. Nobody helped. But so for that, I didn't have nobody. I had my kids that was here. The others who's in the military was not here. I had a couple of my kids that was here helping me, 4 of them that was helping me with the campaign. And 5 to 6 people came to me. I didn't even know them. They met me off social media. They met with me once a week. They became my Aarons who held my arms up. And you know, and they met with me once a week as I ran my campaign. But Benicia, it was probably the most loneliest, rejected journey. But the more I kept running, it's like my back got a little stronger. It's like I was able to stand a little bit more.
You better come on, Doc.
My back, you know, now the talk of family members no longer bother me.
Yes.
You know, the laughter of friends, and what you think you're doing, girl? You trying to go to school? It no longer. So what I did, I started to chase purpose and not perfection.
Come on.
And so
powerful.
I didn't wait for the perfect. I knew it was never the perfect time. So I had put my blinders on to the right, to the left. I couldn't see the runners. I just focused on the goal. Whoever was laughing at me, because I realized the people who's doing the most talking are the people who ain't doing nothing. They just on the sideline. You've never seen a person who's accomplished their goals down to you and talking to you, you know, like, you know, talking down. So for me, Beneath, I just kept going. I just said, you know what? I'm a servant leader. I'm just going to show the world who I am. And I just start from there.
That is so powerful. I mean, Doc, we talked a little bit before the show about the power of isolation.
Yes.
You know, and how it can seem like a negative thing, but it's really an opportunity and a door opening for the Holy Spirit and God to come in and make some adjustments and move some furniture around. And, you know, your journey was a lonely journey, but look at God, look at God, look at the space he cleared.
Ooh,
And he showed you the truth in so many people, because they don't show their truth.
yes, yes.
And it's up to us to believe what they show us, right, Benicia? It's up to us to believe when people show you who they are.
You have to believe them. But
You're
what's so
close to him during
powerful
that
is
time.
that, we know that God is a jealous God, right? And so
Yes.
it just seems like he had you in a space where you gotta trust me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like when you've
Yes.
really been there, like I can't even imagine your story in what you were internalizing and all that. But what I do know is I've been in that place where nobody could help me but God. But what's so amazing about being in that space is when you come out of that, nobody can tell you nothing.
Oh,
Yes.
Huh? About
Yes.
God. Nobody can tell you.
What you say? What?
And when let's talk about the quiet place. Like when he was able to whisper and hear you. See, sometimes we got too much. We too successful. We too busy.
All the noise.
We can't hear. You know what I mean? But I remember, like you said, being in a place where I felt like nothing, and he like, no, you got everything because you got me. And that's what stories of triumph on this platform is all about. You could not have done that in your own strength. Tanya could have gone through what she went through in her own strength. It's only God that had his hand. You didn't even grow up in church. This is what I love too. Listen, he met you because you surrendered.
Yes.
I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. It's people who's going to be listening today. They in that position. I don't know what to do. I don't feel like I have nothing. And God is saying, as long as you have me, you have everything.
Everything you need.
It's not the natural. I remember he told me when I was looking at single mom like you, moved here, straight faith, didn't really know nobody, didn't really understand where I was, felt like I went totally backwards. Like, this is foreign to me. That's real faith though. That's walking faith. That's not talking it. That's walking it. And I remember like you seeing people, where I worked, all the cars was Jags and Benz and this and that. And I was putting along, crying, like, when is my turn? Yeah. And he told me, he said, you rich in spirit, girl.
Girl, and it's so crazy because you could be going through this around a whole bunch of people.
My God.
And you're so alone. I remember riding the commuter bus I lived way out on the outskirts of Baltimore, and I would have to ride that bus into town because I lost my car, right? So I had to do what I had to do. That was the loneliest bus ride. But all I had was my prayer. Praise God for my headphones, because they probably would have kicked me out the bus, because it was me, my prayer, and Yolanda Adams that got me through that particular season. But you're alone, but you're never alone. And I don't know about the two of you, but sometimes I just get this. Matter of fact, we talked about the week that we've had. I just get this feeling like somebody's got their arms around me, like this spiritual, like I'm being held. And if it wasn't for that feeling, the next day I wouldn't be able to do the next day. That would push me to hold on just a little longer. Being the oldest of six, Doc, I feel you in a different perspective, totally.
And when I got the call by American Mothers Inc. started 85 years ago with the women of that time, Eisenhower wife, and the women of that era. And what they do, they get nominations around the world, and they choose one mother to represent that individual state. But out of all the mothers in the 50 plus states that they choose one to make National Mother of the Year, and that person made United States history. And last year I was the 85th mother to ever hold a national title and made United States history.
That is amazing.
Only God can take a former homeless woman who no one knew 12 years ago but the welfare office
Jesus.
and make national United States. Only God can do that. I don't
Yes.
know these people. I don't, and I think God is using my story to tell people I wasn't connected. See, the world has you think you got to be connected. You
Yes.
got to have this. You
Yes.
got to look like this. You got, when you rocking with God, he said long. See, God, and I tell you, I'd rather have favor by God from God any day over man. I give me what he want me to have. That way, no one can say, if it wasn't for me. And that's why I asked God, I said, God, why you didn't allow nobody to help me? It was so hard. He said, because no one would be able to say, if it wasn't for me, she wouldn't be where she's at.
Amen.
And so for me, I remember, Benicia, you asked a question earlier about the practical steps. One thing I remember, undergrad Professor Richard Good told the class that the world belongs to those who are disciplined. So when I was homeless for 4 years, I had to learn the art of discipline. I wrote 12 books within a year and a half. I had to learn how to discipline my time. I don't watch TV. Watching TV to me is a gift to me, you know, after I studied and meditated. So I had to learn how to become disciplined.
Yes.
You know, I had 6 kids. So I had to learn how, you know, and so for me, and now they're looking back now. My oldest son will be 32 this year. And now they're getting older and they're like, you know what? Had it not been for you, where would we be? So now I'm understanding the purpose of generational curse breakers.
Yes.
Yes.
Had it, my daughter said, Mom, the 19-year-old who's 4-time public officer, she said, now because now I'm their business consultant. I'm their empowerment coach now. So they call and get leadership tips. But she said, if you didn't do what you did, we didn't know nobody to help write books. She said, had it not been for you, where would we be? And I realized people who are watching, when you give up, you don't know who else's destiny is tied to you.
Exactly right.
You don't know.
Exactly right. That's why these stories are so important. I mean, the feed is going nuts. This story has touched me. It's beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Holden, for sharing your story.
Thank you.
This story is a story that anyone that's struggling needs to hear. Don't give up. Dr. Holden, your testimony is going to deliver people. I mean, the feed, it's insane. And something that I shared with Benicia that I got from a sermon I was watching this week was, and I honestly believe you're a prime example of this because of what you did and what you've done with your children. Honor opens the door to undeniable favor.
Wow.
And what you've done is made honor a foundational thing, not just for yourself, but for your children. They learned, mom taught them by serving, this is how you honor. And it doesn't matter if they're above you, beneath you, you just honor people.
Yes.
And in honoring, God has, all he can do is shower you with favor.
And he defied the odds, right?
Yes.
So think about it. The very whispers. This is what is just burning in my soul. The very whispers that the enemy was telling you, you're not no good mother.
Yeah.
Good mother, and you out here, you know, don't got nowhere to lay your head, your kid's head, is the same children that now rise up and call you blessed. Don't come on. Come on.
My God.
Suicide. When he was telling you to kill yourself because your life wasn't worth it. God knew 12, 13 years later, you were going to be honored for the life that you live. That's why we can't give up. That's why we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. That's why you have to do whatever it is. I love what you talked about. Listen, I pursue purpose over perfection. That right now, we could drop the mic, turn
the show off. We done, right?
Because that's generally our issue. I don't know. I gotta dot all the I's. I gotta cross all the T's. I gotta know A from B. I'm gonna talk for myself. And God is saying, work with what you got.
Yes. That was a growth point for me as well. Yeah.
Benicia, when you said that, the first thing came back to my mind because I didn't have it. You know, the people that ran against me was connected. So they when we went to the forums and you know they had the you know, they dress nice. I remember going before the forum, going to Goodwill and picking me out a nice blazer or a nice shirt because I believed in purpose. I wasn't there trying to be perfect. I wasn't there. I knew that, and it's interesting, although my family did not help me for that district, I actually ran for the seat that our now mayor Bottoms vacated to run for mayor. But that district is the biggest district in Atlanta. And so you need at least about 20,000 to 50,000 to make it really big so people can know who you are. Right. I only had $2,000. I didn't have a campaign manager. I didn't have any endorsements. And the lady who had the 50,000 and she was well connected, she only beat me to the runoff by 400 votes.
Come on.
Wow.
You know, so I was more relatable. And it's interesting because they used to tell me in the prominent neighborhoods, oh, ain't nobody gonna vote for you up there because those people got money. And when I went and talked with them, they were like, what they talking about? Where they think we came from? Everybody up here don't have. Wow. And at every precinct, somebody voted for me. Every precinct that was open. So although I did not win physically to see, but when I look back and look at the picture and see my grandchildren out there with their signs, campaigning with me.
Girl, you gonna make me cry.
You know, you can't take that. When I'm gone, when my time here expires. Yeah. I remember a song by Beyonce. She said, I was here. And so that lets us know and the meaning of the song, when I'm here, when my time here expires, you're going to know I was here.
Still.
Yeah.
And so
yes, that's legacy, building an impact. And you know, two words that come to mind when I think about you, just hearing your story, is radical faith. There's an edge to you, Doc. There's an edge to you. There's got to be an edge to you and your level of faith that you would say to a nurse, no, I want to go in the rubber room. Yeah. But that's not where you're supposed to go. You know, I want to go in there because you laid out prostrate for the Lord to say, this is the lowest I can go. And right here where somebody else would have made a decision to put me, I'm in this room to tell you that Jesus is the only one that can deliver me. Yes, God. That's radical faith. Yes. Yes. That's radical faith, to stand up next to a woman that has 50,000 and you have grandbabies on the circuit, and she beat you by 400 votes. That's all.
That's it.
That's radical faith.
Yes. So good.
Finding the place to humbling yourself to go to people that you don't even know, for them to bless you with a meal and take care of your family like that. That's radical. That's radical. Radical. You are a radical believer. You are a radical servant of God. Oh, I'm so proud to have you on this show.
No, proud to know you. I want to talk about a word that you said because it's very important to you. We talked about it in the pre-show, is relatable. How important is it to be relatable, to show up, you know, authentically you, despite the competition and everything that's going on, and being a minister, having the ability to be a minister and love God and still be vulnerable and honest about where you are and what God is still doing in and through you, because we never arrive, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Talk to us about that.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know what I realized, and someone asked me when we did interviews in the forum, you're not scared that the other candidates is going to talk about you and put your business out there? Because I was the only one really, you know, that came from actually homeless and up through the ranks. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not. I was willing, I believe as a leader, I was willing to be mocked if I'm going to stand for the homeless community. Yeah. I was willing to be mocked and talked about. Matter of fact, I said, well, get my book. My book is out. They can find anything out there anyway if they want to put it out. You know, it's already out there. So,
Amazon.com.
You know, but I was willing. I think when you know your why, at that point, I had already been through the fire. The refining process, you know, I went in as a little born and fight, but I came out as the rock. At that point, you know, I went in like, oh, oh God, why? Now I came out. I don't care what they say. Yes, put my name on that ballot. You know, I'm been through the fire. Yeah. And so for me, when I emerged from the fire, I no longer look at stuff to say. Yeah. I no longer cared about what they thought. Who, you know. So for me, and I knew that I'm born and raised here, so I knew the community I was in, that I was more relatable. You know, I think people get tired of like I just made a post even on the election inauguration. I just made a post about that. I say the thing is, it's not about, and I'm glad to see who got into office. The thing is not about putting our trust in people.
That's right.
We still are responsible. The thing is, I think it's easy to put blame on somebody else because we don't want to do the work. You know, that's what it is. Soon as somebody in office don't do what somebody say, you're gonna hear the whole. And right now we praising, let somebody do something you don't want to do. And so for me, I learned that in the scriptures when they Hosanna, Jesus, and one minute crucify him.
That's right.
So I became deaf to the tear. And when people comment, thank you, no, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not drawn away by people no more. I'm not pulled away by people anymore.
Yeah.
The applause. Thank you. And I always give it to him. Glory to God. If it wasn't for him. And I'm not being humble on that part. Because like you said, Benicia, I'm not crazy.
No.
Statistically, 35, it's no way, not only just for me, it was no way possible had God not intervened. Yeah. My family would be doing it just no. So I'm always giving him, I mean, I'm still in awe. Sometimes just sit here and cry when I look at the difference of wars and just Mother of the Year. And for him, because I did thought I was a failure at once.
Yes.
And for him to come and say, well done. The year that all of my children turned 18 and over. Last year, my youngest child turned, and you know how you've been on your job 30 years, you get the gold watch or you get,
yes.
But God, the year that everybody turned 18 and over, not only Georgia Mother of the Year daughter, I'm going to take it, I'm going to do it better.
Jesus.
National Mother of the Year.
Jesus.
Well, I was ashamed and humiliated and felt like I let my kids down. He did that for me. So that's how I just, when I think about that, I didn't know nobody. I'm not part of no sorority or influential group. I moved to the sound of the beat of my soul, and I listen. God, I'm not out here trying to impress nobody. You know, in Atlanta, Atlanta's like the new Hollywood now.
Yes.
I'm not out here trying to be at every networking group. I move only by purpose. When he tell me to go speak, when I feel like he has summoned me. If somebody asks me to come speak or preach, I feel like he has summoned me there for a reason. I do what I got to do, and I go. You know, and so for me, that's how we was talking about Tanya before it came on. I could just feel the shift that now I'm looking at. I see life now beyond the horizons. It's almost kind of scary because it's like an out of body experience.
Yes.
But I'm able to see beyond. I don't know. It's a beautiful place, but you know that he's allowed me to tap into.
I want to be nosy.
Only by purpose. How amazing.
I want to be nosy.
Which means we got to know our purpose.
Yes, we do.
Because if not, you're gonna be dancing to everybody's drum.
Yes, everybody.
Where you want to go, not what, but no, when you know that you know, then you answer that call. What fulfillment you must have, you know, just knowing that you are in the place you're supposed to be. Not that it doesn't come with different things. Not that, you know, we talked about it. You have your days, your moments that you got to push through despite all the accolades and the awards and all of those things. But I'm pretty sure when you look around, that helps you to keep pressing because he's the same God. So if he's the same God that brought you from homelessness, then no matter how we feeling, a little down one day or whatever the case may be, we gotta know he's the same God. Yesterday, today, forevermore. Different issues, but same God. You know?
Yes.
So powerful.
Doc, talk to us. I'm being nosy now. Talk to us about Phoenix Rising. Talk about that logo and the name you chose for your company, which so fits.
Oh my goodness. Well, last year I started Phoenix Rising. It's a leadership and personal development company where I do inspirational speaking, empowerment coaching, and as an author, and I facilitate workshops. So one of the books I had written is a 60-page workbook training me where I go back and do workshops so I can help my brothers and sisters, help them change the narrative for their lives. And so COVID slowed a lot of stuff down last year, but that's okay. Last year for me, but honestly, was a year of rest. I had been pushing for so long, and so for me, God just gave me, and it was a year of rest and recognition. God said he was rewarding me for my faithfulness. And not only I became Georgia Mother of the Year, National Mother of the Year, I got a triumphant woman of the year, just different. So that year was God was just, I believe, loving on me. You know, it's interesting because when I wrote my books and everything, I didn't have any money. I didn't know I didn't really know nothing about marketing. I'm coming from homelessness. I'm coming from someone with a GED. I didn't know, I just wrote because I felt like I want a holistic way where I can reach the family as a whole.
Right.
So I wrote 4 children's books to reach the little kids in the household, to talk about kindness and friendship and diversity. And then as a community advocate, I wrote a 4-part youth series for the middle schoolers that talk about sex trafficking, teen dating violence, love and forgiveness, and bullying. Then my life story, No Longer Lost, from homelessness to overcomer, and it's the Seal Up Here Georgia National Mother of the Year.
Yes.
My latest release, Leadership Principles, the Power of Personal Development. Now this one here, I learned how to keep integrity. It was hard. When your back is against the wall, you don't know what you'll do.
Yeah.
I just keep it at we can all say what we won't do, we love the Lord, but let your back against the wall. So temptations came. I was homeless. You might meet somebody that's in your ear, but I had in order to hold integrity, I had to say no to a lot of things. I became very disciplined in myself. And so as a leader, I don't think you're truly tested if your back ain't against the wall, and not that you have to be perfect, but you have to show some level of integrity that you're not going to compromise who you are to get ahead.
Amen.
And so for me, I didn't compromise myself to get ahead. And it might prolong my journey, but I could hold my head up at the end of the day. They say I didn't have to sleep my way out of homelessness. I didn't have to sleep my way when I ran for office. I just ran on my merits that God had called me there.
Yes.
It's so powerful.
With that scripture keeps coming to my mind, that God is the one that promotes. And sometimes, like you said, we get caught up in that, whether you're in corporate. Tanya and I talk about that all the time, whether you're in corporate or like you said, in your business, or God has had me and Daniel for so long. And so when you're saying that, I'm like, God, I hear you speaking through Dr. Holden, that I don't care where I take you. You got to have a resolute mindset that I'm going to do it God's way. Like you said, it might look in the natural like I'm running behind, but I'm not on the natural schedule. I'm on God's schedule. So I want to be pleasing to him, because when you obey him, he said, I reward those that diligently seek me. It might not come when we think it should, but honey, 2020 came and showed.
Showed up and showed out. Yes.
Okay, but man couldn't do. God did.
And that you talk about Daniel, and you talk about, and we started talking about how you're looking so wonderful, and with 6 kids and all that you've been through, you walk through that fire unsinged, right? Because you made the decision. And that's what he did. He made that decision. That's fine. You can put me in the oven if you want to. I'm not gonna get burnt, because I'm not shifting my belief system to you. I'm for God, right? So you showed that to your children, and other people will watch it. Your story. Let me share some of that, girl. Let me just share some of that.
Please share what the people are saying.
Denise said, National Mother of the Year. Only God promotes his children that serve him. You have to hold high integrity. Yes. Jenny said, I think that shows your strength in what you can do and overcome obstacles that come your way. She said, this has given me another positive boost in my decision that I made to return to school for my RN at my age of 41, and planning to go further for my BSN and then continue from there. Go on, Jenny. Go. And Nedra, Nedra Buckmeyer, a dear friend of mine, she said, you did win that campaign.
Come on.
You did win. Purpose over perfection. Yes. I mean, it's going on and on.
Oh my goodness.
Like you said, if God were to say, okay, come on, I got your condo ready, right? You've got to know, Dr. Holden, that it's job well done, my child.
I
There's so much left for you to do still. I know.
I just had two women reach out to me in I think Alabama and Texas and say, you inspired me. I just want to let you know I'm running for office. I mean, people I've never, and I remember one time, just right fast, when I asked, because I'm always moving by God. I don't move what I feel like is good, because we could do a good thing, but it's not a God thing. So,
Come on.
Woo,
Somebody
we can
write
think.
that in the chat. It's a good thing, but
that's
No.
a
not
tweet, y'all. That's a
you
tweet.
know, and we don't have a lot of time to be doing something that's good, and God ain't called us to do it. So I
Yeah.
say, God, if you're calling me to speak and to be an inspiration speaker, I need a burning bush sign. I said, I need a burning bush. And so he gave it to me. I went on LinkedIn of all platforms, and I just posted a picture of myself and my degrees, and I just wrote a little summary of my story. I went from this to there, and I'm an inspirational speaker. Didn't really think much of it. Within 3 months, we had over 500,000 views on LinkedIn. People around the world, from Africa, Hawaii, Australia, around the world, different races, men, women, they contacted me. But it was this one lady that reached out to me. She was a Caucasian lady, and she was up north. She said, Dr. Holden, I want to let you know that I just read your post. She said, I have my PhD. I have a loving husband. I have 2 supportive kids. She said, but my husband and I lost our jobs 2 months ago. And she said, we've been living off our savings because we had a pretty large income coming in, but she said, we won't be able to do that for long. She said, so I started to get nervous. She said, when I read your post, I immediately thought, what if I didn't have a husband? What if I had 4 more kids? She said, what if I was homeless and didn't have my degrees? She said, you changed my perspective. I'll always remember you for the rest of my life.
The mindset is
You can't,
everything.
and normal circumstances. This lady probably would have never paid. Let's just keep it real. She said she's well-to-do, and they had large income coming in and PhD, so she's probably lived a successful life. But God used a little black lady, little lady like me in Atlanta. She said, "But you, I'll never forget you. You changed my perspective." And
Yes.
so I had my burning bush sign that I was on the right road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at God.
Yeah.
I'm so full. Listen here.
Just the humility, Benicia, the humility
My
alone.
gosh, but that only can come from, Tanya, earlier you were talking about her fruits.
Yes.
It only you can tell that you spend time with God. You know what I'm saying? You the way you speak, the intentionality of what it is that you do, the selflessness is just so amazing. I'm in awe of what God is not only done, but what he's doing, because we know he's not finished yet. You know what I
Well,
mean?
he's not finished, and I thank you for your yes.
Absolutely.
I so thank you for your yes. And God just dropped something in my spirit when you talked about that burning bush, because I really want to ask our watchers, of the folks that we get a lot of replay people that come back after, and as well as live. And I just really want to ask you, how many burning bushes have you walked by? How many burning bushes have you disregarded? How many times has God tried to get your attention?
My God.
And you went the other way. You can look at a story like this, you can hear this, you can see your genuine and humble self speaking of what you walked through. And it's easy to say, oh, well, this is nice, and turn the channel. But when are you going to stop? When are you going to stop and say, God, I'm ready to do what you have poured into me to do? When are you going to own your burning bush? When are you going to say, it's time? Because if God can do it for Dr. Holden, right? If God can shift me over this past week and take some things for Benicia and myself and say, okay, I'm taking you next level. I'm showing you some other things now. I'm disrupting some things in your life so I can take you to the next level. And you don't jump on board. You don't walk on the water. You don't say yes. So I hope that this has shaken you. I hope it's inspired you and shaken you to see that God, he works with the unqualified.
My God.
He's not looking for somebody that already has
My God.
all the highlights. Matter of fact, he wants you to feel like you don't have enough, because that's more of a reason for you to say, nobody but the Lord himself brought me through.
Yes.
So just stop ignoring the burning bush, y'all,
Yeah.
and start walking in your purpose. And if you need somebody to help you find that, get a mentor, get a coach,
Yes.
reach out. Dr. Holden, what do you want to share? Because I feel like you have something else to say.
Oh my goodness. What came to my spirit to say this, I didn't have mentors. So what I did when I was homeless, I chose 3 women that I wanted to morph into, or at least have some attributes of each person. So I chose Coretta Scott King, Michelle Obama, and Felicia Rashad. So these 3 women, I studied how they dress, how they carried themselves, their mannerism. And so I just started to see myself a little bit as a community advocate with Coretta Scott King, and just the elegant of Felicia Rashad. I love her, just how she carries and dresses. And so that just became, so if you don't have, somebody might say, well, I don't have mentors, I don't have no supportive. Sometimes we got to go and choose people that we admire from afar.
That's
That's good.
You know, and just, you know, we might never meet them, but we can study them, maybe how they dress, how they, and for me, my thing is, I tell people, God did not magically change my life. I had to be a willing participant in my own deliverance.
You
He
got
did
to
not,
do your part.
you know, I had to do my part. It was painful. And I, you know, and Lord, and I'm be honest, it was sometimes I wish I can go in the corner and cry, and I cried. The first beginning, I was crying. I was feeling pitiful for myself. God, why me? And, you know, and then when I started saying that, the test kept coming back around. I started saying, hold up, you know,
Yes.
I just started to praise him. Then I went from why me to whatever you want me to do. And so when that started to change, you know, and when I wrote my books, I didn't know no one. I said, well, God, I don't, and then, you know, I come out of this, I feel like Noah in the ark. You know, I'm building, everybody's laughing, and whoever's watching, you keep building, they're gonna laugh at you, you know, because they didn't hear what God told you. They don't see the rain, they don't see the vision, what God told you, Noah or Noah. You're gonna see, you know, I'm building, God, but they laughing at me. The village people, your friends and family, that's coming, girl, you crazy, man, you crazy. But you're building and building. Here it is 12 years later, as I was building, I came out of art, a former city council candidate, 13 times author, comic book creator, because I built even when the people was laughing.
Yes.
Even in silence, even in rejection, even when people, I just kept building. God, I ain't got no money to market these books. Who's gonna buy them? Well, all right, I wrote a book. When God brought a subject to my heart, I wrote on it. And now here I am, a 13-time published author. You got to build no matter who's with you and who's not.
My God.
Yes.
Dr. Holden, I hear God saying that he can trust you.
Yeah.
See, everybody got you have to be in a position where God can trust you, because he knows it's not about the accolades.
Yeah.
It's not even about the stuff.
Yes.
Like you in covenant, this relationship.
Man.
And because he can trust you, he can expand your borders, because he knows no matter where you take, no matter where I take her, that's my girl. That's how I hear it.
Yeah.
We in relationship.
Yeah, I might as well be there myself because I sent her.
Absolutely. And I just hear, you know, I see Romans 8:28 that just came to life. That all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to purpose. If you walk in purpose, everything that you've gone through, when we look back, you couldn't even be who you are today if you hadn't weathered what you've been through. And let's be honest, when I think that's where your vulnerability, your transparency, you can relate. So I'm not looking at somebody you can relate on all levels now. Come on, Jesus. I got you.
Yes.
I got you.
Yes.
Mother, what? I got you.
I got you.
Got you. What? Running for office, got that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, God can use you in so many different arenas, but you also had to be tested in all of those things.
Yeah, he had to break you in order to make you.
Woo.
My God.
He had to break you in order to make you, you know, and now you can testify to the what I believe it was Bishop Jakes that said, you know, that the pressing and the
Yeah.
crushing, the
Oh my
crushing,
Oh my
gosh.
God.
you know, because when you
Mm.
crush, that's where the oil comes from, right?
Oh,
You know,
oh my
so
goodness.
yeah,
Oh
girl,
my,
there's
you
so
just said
much.
something on that. I'm sorry, but and
No,
because
go ahead, go ahead.
that's when it's different. I think when you're old, when you actually have been that when you walk with him,
Mm,
you don't talk the same. You don't walk the same. Something you no longer even. I don't even care. That's why we was talking earlier. I'm no longer even caught up what's going on in the natural. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to outdress you. If I got to go get a blazer from Goodwill, I'm good with that. I'm not trying to. I drive. I still drive a truck I had for 7 years. I'm good with that. I don't have the latest model
Mm,
because I'm not about you. I'm
mm,
just here to do what he's called me to do before he called me home. That's it.
mm.
mm.
I can't take my degree. When I was homeless, I told my children, I've never seen a U-Haul fall in a funeral procession line.
That's right.
Now, I'm not against having nice things. We all want that, but the nice things don't have me.
That's
And
it.
I said, when we leave, I can't take my degrees. I can't take nothing with, and y'all gonna split up whatever I have left and go. And that's what keep me focused on end goal.
That's so
When
good.
my time here is up, the
Yes.
world would know, as Beyonce say, I was here. And
Mm.
that
Yes,
was it. I
that's
was here.
legacy. That's power. That's like, woof. We could talk all day.
Yeah.
I can't even believe we've been talking for an hour, but woo, I'm so grateful. This has touched so many, and I'm
Mm.
sure it's going to continue to do that. Can you tell everybody where to find you? You know, your handles and any projects that you have coming up, anything that's going on.
Yes, well, I'm available. I'm on the three main social media sites: Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can also get all my books, my comic book. If you order off my website, you get everything autographed. My comic book came out last April when we were on lockdown. I want to create a way to empower the people of God. That God is still with us. So you go on my website, www.drLaTarsha just like how my name is spelled here, if you see on the screen without the period, drLaTarshaHolden.info, INFO. Or if you're international, wherever God is have you internationally, I think it's best to go on Amazon because the fees to ship internationally is just extremely high. But I would love to send you out autographed copies of the books, the comic book, all of my books, they're children's books. And I'm just excited. If you're looking for a coaching, you say, no, I need some coaching to help get through this. You can email us at LaTarshaHolden@yahoo.com, or you can call 404-838-9587. And I would definitely, I'm an empathic coach. I'm an empowerment coach, but I'm one, sometimes we don't need, for me, the people that's yelling and screaming in your ear, you got to do this. Sometimes we just need a little nudge,
Mhm.
just a
Yeah,
little constant reminder, just,
yes,
I got you, just come on,
I
So
feel you on that.
I
Yeah.
used to be like, well, God, I'm not loud but no, I'm just learning how to be unapologetically me. So
Yeah.
that's go on my website again, www.drLaTarshaHolden.info. If you want to book me as a speaker for one of your upcoming events, I would love to come and impart into your listeners, your the people that's going to be in attendance.
That's awesome. I did put the website in the comments for everybody, so you can tap on that and be sure to go to her website. Benicia, did you want to say anything in wrapping up?
I just want to say, thank you, thank you, thank you again for your yes. If it wasn't for your yes, then all of these individuals you've impacted, including us today now, you have
Mm,
inspired, uplifted, encouraged Tanya and I on today, and I know our listeners. That's one thing
yeah,
that I love about how we approach this platform is it's not for just people. No,
Yeah.
it's for us first. And so I just want to say thank you as a single mom in school, working, ministry, all of those things. It just gave me just an extra push to
yeah.
like keep going and making sure you're in alignment with purpose and not perfection. So I just want to say, I thank God for you, your
Thank
Mm,
you.
mm,
ministry, your
mm, mm,
life, your tenacity, your
mm.
audacity.
Yes, I love all of those words.
I'm in awe, I really am. I'm gonna
Thank you.
for the rest of the day, my wheels is just spinning. Sometimes you just have to sit in even other people's stories. So just
Yeah.
like Alicia Rashad was someone that you looked up to, now I can put you in that space for myself. So thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much. Really
So
appreciate it.
powerful. And I did want to say, as a daughter of a mother with 6 kids,
Mhm.
wow. You moms and Benicia, you all mommies, you know, people are watching you,
Yeah.
and those eyeballs are watching you first.
Yes.
And that's your legacy. And my mom has 6 legacies. You have 6 legacies. Benicia, you have 2 legacies. You guys try to keep it together,
Yeah.
are a gift from God. And I thank you again.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you for your yes.
Thank
We
you.
love you guys. Make sure that you share this because everybody needs this story. Everybody. Y'all have a blessed week and be kind to yourself
Yes.
and be kind to everyone else.
Yes. And meet us here
Yes,
next
that's
week,
right. Next week,
same time,
same place.
for another amazing Arise and Shine stories of triumph.
Yes. Bye-bye, y'all.